Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. Retired Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, an adjunct professor at the George C. Marshall Center, and an experienced peace, security, and conflict subject matter expert is our guest tonight. Let me quickly take you up on this. Anti-grazing laws has caused some controversy. The current Minister for Defense said he said it was a suggestion on the back of criticism that, that they be scrapped. Platts Estate doesn't have one of those laws. Do you think that they should enact one? Will it help?
Given the controversy that use of land for grazing between farmers comes, I think looking at laws is a reasonable step. However, is how you enact the laws, the practicability of the laws. Because when I mean practicable, there are laws that you can formulate, and it's going to be a tough battle to interact them. They should not be punitive in measure. The essential element at the back when you're enacting the law is for the general good, as opposed to group or individuals' good.
But isn't that if indeed this is actually some conflict between farmers and herdsmen? Because some people say there is no conflict. I mean, they haven't seen the conflict. This is a situation, from what they can read and from what is usually reported, of some people being killed in broad daylight. Before, I mean, we do not know what the background to that could be, but that is what they usually see. So can we really describe this as a conflict in that sense?
No, honest, I do not agree with that. It will be hiding behind the finger to say that there's no conflict. There's really a conflict. Not only on even the societal changes, even the environmental changes tells you that even if we don't have killings, there's bound to be a conflict over land based on the traditional way of raising cows and the traditional way of farming practice. The two cannot go together.
Is this about herders? Do you really think also that this is about herders?
Over the years, Mahope, there has always been problem between, I mean, all the communities, we have seen this testimony. Fighting between herders that your cow has entered my farm and destroyed my farm. It didn't start today. It didn't start today. Many years, all these places, there has been, but there used to be a very peaceful way of resolving it. It's the cows of Mr. A. Let's go and meet the local chief. Okay, what is the word?
The reason I say this is because we're also looking at the situation. Remember what the president said when he went to London, when he said, that we also have people who are coming in from outside the country. Can we rule that out? Because when we think of the people who are currently causing this mayhem, do you really think that these are local people, or do you think they're coming from the outside?
Well, I will not dismiss the idea of external content. But if you want me to give percentage, in all honesty, in my own belief, I think it is 80 to 90% a local problem. It is a local problem. It is Nigerians against Nigerians. There might be the external element of about 10%, because Boko Haram is being disbanded. We have other surrounding countries where we have this, and the Fulani as a whole over West Africa, there are different brands of Fulanis. There are nomadic people that they don't respect any border. They just go wherever there's pasture, they go. So there could be, but 80 to 90% is my belief. It is Nigerians against Nigerians. That is my belief.
In the aftermath of that, we've also seen suspicion. There's always allegation. The security agencies sometimes know these people. The security agencies are backing these people. Those allegations exist. And that usually starts from even the casualty figure that we see. Maybe initially the police might say 15 people. Before you know what's happening, the numbers have increased. I know that the spokesperson of the police in Platts Estate had to come out and give a refutal as to the figures. I think eventually had to say, it's because we're still trying to compile the figures, because there was an outcry when the police in Plateau initially released a number of people they said had died. How do you think this suspicion can be doused?
Good. Honest, this is a very valid point. Over the years, I don't know where we picked this practice of always downplaying the figures of people that are killed in any incident. I don't think it's a good practice. If it had any use before, when we are not in democracy now demands, if there are casualties, the government or the government agency should be forthright in telling the number. In all honesty, it's not even decent to the people who are dead to deny that they didn't die. Because I think the least you can do to somebody who is died is to acknowledge that the person, the man or woman, at least existed. To come and say 10 died when actually 20 died, honest, is a practice I will call on the federal government and security agencies to desist from doing that. We have good practices we can.
No, they get the excuse. They said, oh, it's because we were still trying to compile the figures.
Then the announcement should come as of now, what we confirmed. There should be an update. There should be, as of now, what we confirmed is this. Any reasonable person will understand. So if anybody brings another figure, you have to, it's credibility. If you update and give, people will understand. But in all honesty, when you have wide description, of course, again, we have to factor in that there are always people, again, whose interest is to magnify the figures. But the professional security man should not be interested in that. He should be holding on his word. 10 are dead is 10 are dead. If he thinks there are areas he has not checked, he say as of now, but we are still counting. And then subsequent updates will be given. But to deliberately reduce the number is as bad as deliberately hyping the numbers. Yes.
Wondering then, what do you make of the criticism that the president has refused to rejig his security cabinet in the wake of all of this? People believe that, he ought to have done something about it. They believe, first of all, it is skewed to the north. It is heavily northern. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But then do you also think that the president should rejig his security cabinet?
Well, what I'm going to say is my personal opinion and based on observations I have made. When President Buhari came in May 25,
May 29.
May 29, 2015, we have to remember the most preeminent security challenge. The most preeminent security challenge was the Northeast. Of course, to some extent, there was a Niger Delta, but it has simmered down. The most preeminent as May 25 is the Northeast counterinsurgency operation. So I want to believe, based on the fact, here I talk as a counterinsurgency expert. Counterinsurgency is something that has to do with the heart and minds of the people. Everybody is affected in Nigeria under counterinsurgency, but the most people affected are people in the Northeast. I want to believe that, at that time, that what informed the chairs of the service chiefs to, I can say, are from the Northeast.
But now that the security challenge seems to be changing.
That's why I'm coming. That's why I'm coming. So now that it is changing, it will not be out of place. Being Nigeria what it is. Being Nigeria what it is. Maybe someone is having speculation. Of course, it is very easy to pin identities to the service chiefs and say, this is why is this. However, there is what ought to be done and what is constitutionally allowed. If you look at Section 218 of the Nigerian Constitution, which gives the president the power to appoint the service chiefs, it is an unfettered power. If you look at the Armed Forces Act, Section 19, they said the president can appoint service chiefs, naming them CDS, Chief of Army Staff, as he thinks fit.
I understand what to say out of time, but I need to quickly ask you, do you think then that it should be reviewed?
Now, in making that call, two things are to be looked at. Just like
quickly, in 30 seconds.
Just like a football coach may know there are times that he shouldn't change his team, and there are times he should change. I don't have the total picture of why the president extended. Remember, he extended his tenure. However, for our system to develop, apart from being a security expert, I like to do comparative constitutionalism. We borrowed most of these things from the U.S. In the U.S., it is clearly stated the tenure of the service chiefs. It is clearly stated under what conditions the CNC would be able to extend their tenure.
So should they be rejigged as it currently stands?
I don't have the picture of why the Mr. President is holding them.
Is that yes or no?
No, I cannot answer that because I need to know what why the president is keeping them. Because at least he came out to say, I have extended their tenure.
Should he be explaining to us why he's keeping them?
I think it's necessary. Or the National Assembly should ask. That's why it's democracy. The National Assembly could ask.
Well, retired Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, thank you for coming on Hard Copy.
Thank you very much, Maupe.
That's the program tonight. However, we want to hear from you. Please talk to us using the handles on your screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf. Good night.